I think it's a very smart move for Apple. Obviously, Apple is putting boundaries on what it's going to actually do with that data. They aren't trying to use that data themselves for some purpose, but they're trying to enable, empower the consumer to have more access to data. The thing that I think about, though, is that people have tried this before. Google Health tried going to the providers to get the data. These are people like Epic, Cerner, Athena, the big hospital systems. And that's only half the story. The other half of the story is really the insurance payers, because the payers are the ones who get the reimbursement. The payers are the ones who can offer incentives to get people to modify their behavior. So if you really want to empower consumers, you have to give them not only the access to the data on the iPhone or the iWatch, which is a great idea, but you need to tie it back into the whole ecosystem of the insurance payers, because that's how you can start to modify behavior. You can start to create incentives for doctors, other health professionals, and the consumers themselves. So it's a good first step, but there are other steps that could be made too.
In light of that point, do you think Apple will be on the forefront of bringing more transparency and more data to consumers in terms of their health? I mean, certainly we've been hearing this as like one of the holy grails that tech companies have all been scrambling to tackle.
I think Apple's drawing a boundary, and I don't have any inside information on Apple, but just listening to the reports over time and the most recent one, what Apple is doing is saying, look, we know that sensors are getting more and more powerful. The more things we can build into a product like the iWatch, we can make it the way in which users can access and see the data. But it seems to me that at this point, Apple has said we're not going to move into the really heavy lift of data which is used to actually change behavior, reduce costs, manage outcomes. And that's clearly the way the whole healthcare system is moving. There are two big things in the healthcare system that can radically change the costs in the future. One is the chronic care patient. That's what I focus on with RxAdvance. That's with our PBM. The other is the empowerment of consumers. What Apple is doing is a first important step, but there are a lot of other things that I think you're going to see coming down the road from various companies that are going to involve the insurance payers, not just the providers.
John, Silicon Valley, at least a portion of it, is facing a sort of crisis of trust right now around what they do with data, how they might manipulate the public in what they show us. I wonder, is Apple in a uniquely strong position because they're not in the data business? Apple's argument is, yeah, we sell you an expensive device, but then we don't have much to do with your data from there on out. It sort of belongs to you. Are Google, Facebook, and Amazon in a different position because they are trying to monetize our data? And maybe it's a little harder to believe, oh, we want to monetize all your data, but not your health records.
Well, that's a very good observation, because Apple has a booming service business, but it isn't because they're doing the same things that Amazon and Google and Facebook are doing. They're not actually doing that, heavy lift, bringing in artificial intelligence, doing things where they can monetize the data for themselves. For example, Apple has just introduced this new HomePod. The HomePod is optimized around what Apple's really good at, which is entertainment experience. They did it with photography. Now they're going to optimize it with a high-quality device that can help you have an assistant to find high-quality music and great quality speakers. That's very different than what Amazon is doing with Alexa, where Alexa is really going to be the challenger to Facebook and to Google for search, because Alexa, through Amazon Prime, controls so much of the e-commerce transactions. They know what millions of people are doing in their buying behavior, just like Google knows what people are doing with their search behavior, and Facebook knows what people are doing just in their people interaction. So I think Apple is different than those other three companies.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.